Happens when AI surges, immigration slows, and tariffs make a comeback, all at the same time. Well, you get an economy that looks a bit confused. Now, don't worry, we're going to make sense of it right here and right now. I'm Chris Hobart, the Wealthologist, and this is the Wealthologist Weekly. All right, let's zoom out and get real about what's happening in the economy right now. GDP, it is crawling at 2%. And quite frankly, that's kind of the good news right now. And now, for a bit of context, back in the mid 80s to early 2000s, America was growing at 3.2% annually. Now, today, we're crawling. New tech, it is booming, absolutely. But economic growth, it's just kind of eh. Aging boomers, I hate to tell you, you get a little bit of the blame because people retire and they spend less. But that's not the whole story. The real weight dragging things down, it's the government. Now, we've got a bloated federal footprint and spending that shot through the roof during COVID. And quite frankly, we haven't really tightened the belt since. Meanwhile, interest rates, they were near zero for way too long, pumping money into the system. M2 money supply, which is the broad measure of all the dollars floating around, it exploded. But instead of jump-starting the economy, we got inflation, we got bubbles, and uneven growth. And now the Fed is pulling back, but obviously we're feeling those growing pains. So what's changed lately? And I think this is where it kind of gets interesting, right? Uh, we've had some pretty major policy flips. Immigration is down, tariffs are back on the rise, regulations are easing up a bit. There's no tax hikes on the horizon, at least not for now. And all of this sounds pretty pro growth, right? And it could be, but the economy's not fully responding yet. Well, let's talk about this. First, let's look at jobs. August added just 22,000 jobs, barely a ripple. Now, compare that to early 2024 when we were averaging 146,000 jobs per month. That slowdown's pretty stark, right? And it's not just the private sector. Government jobs are down 97,000 in 7 months. That's the steepest non census cut in over 35 years. Now, I got to tell you, I'm not necessarily crying over fewer government paychecks. I think long term, it's probably a good thing for the private sector. But in the short term, fewer jobs, well, it means less spending. And quite frankly, that matters for growth. Now, what's interesting with all of this, retail is actually humming. Yeah, sales are up 4.1% over last year. Car sales, man, they are up as well. In fact, we're tracking 16.3 million vehicles annually. That's not bad at all. Even manufacturing, which has been flatlining for a decade, showed just a tiny pulse, 0.8% growth this year. Now it's small, but hey, when manufacturing's been in a coma, even blinking counts, right? Now the question that people are asking is this reshoring? And maybe. Tariffs are supposed to bring production back home, and maybe it's working. But I think this is the bigger catch. Businesses, they need clarity. And right now, we've got lawsuits, we've got Supreme Court battles over executive tariff powers, and we've got markets guessing who wins ultimately. That's not clarity, that's chaos. There's prediction markets out there that are betting against Trump winning his tariff case in front of the Supreme Court. But even if tariffs get slapped down, Trump or whoever's in office could find another legal lever. Bottom line, businesses aren't expanding when the rules keep changing. Then we got to look at AI. Everyone's hyped, but the question that we've really got to ask, is it going to change the game as much as everyone talked about earlier? Here's the honest truth. AI, it is powerful, but it's not a miracle. Not yet, at least. It might be like the railroad or the internet or the smartphone. It could absolutely transform communication, productivity, and even creativity. But all of that takes time. And so far, we haven't seen necessarily a full blown economic boom from AI. In fact, growth in tech jobs is already leveling off. So is AI boosting the economy? Not yet. It's really more of a reorganization right now than a revolution. And again, that's at least for now. We'll see what it looks like down the road. So, what do we do with all this? Well, here's what I'm telling clients. First, diversity. This isn't the time to bet on big or any single sector, especially not on hype, which means don't fall for the AI gold rush. This wave is real, but it's early. Also, keep your eyes on policy, not just tech. Tariffs, immigration, and spending, they are the real puppet strings behind the growth right now. Also, talk to your advisor. Seriously, if your portfolio was built for yesterday's economy, it's probably time for a refresh. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think that AI is going to create jobs or replace them or eliminate them? Drop your take in the comments and tell me if you're optimistic, if you're skeptical, confused. All takes are welcome. And also tell me how you're using AI. I'd be really curious to find out what you're doing. And now, also, if this video helped you see that big picture, hit the like button. And if you want more plain spoken insights like this every week, all you got to do is subscribe. And always share this with someone who still thinks the economy is only about the stock market, because we broadened it a little bit today. All right, folks, this is the Wealthologist Weekly, and I'm Chris Hobart. Stay informed, stay alert, and most of all, stay wealthy.